flip-flops on, singing to that highway song. Got a little naive smile, the kind that drives you out. Nothing like playing with fire, brings boy to life. Beat you with a fuse you light, you're your dynamite.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds where the sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning for this 19th day of September 2023. Today's show is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420POD at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase at SeatGeek. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to BellyUpSports.com for all their great articles and other great podcasts, such as the Corner Booth podcast, Sports Flow podcast, and one of my favorites. She's on tonight, the Craft Brewed Sports podcast. Should be a lot of laughs with those boys once again tonight at the Craft Brewed Sports podcast. And thank you very much for being a part of our day each and every day. We're making us part of your day each and every day here from 1420 World Headquarters down the Yankee Tavern North. And if you're watching on YouTube later on today or at any point, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're listening on the podcast form later on today, thank you very much for doing that as well. We appreciate all the support that we get. Subscribe to it and like and share and all that stuff, and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you think it's a 2, doesn't much matter. But anyways, Major League Baseball, there's 12 days left in the season. It's coming down to 4 series left, 11, 12 games, like I said, for every team left in Major League Baseball. Some teams are just playing out the string. Some teams think they have a bit of a chance, some kind of miraculous run left in them to somehow, some way get themselves into a wild card spot. That's my New York Yankees with their 12 games they got remaining. I don't have much hope of them getting in. You have teams that are in actual wild card races. You got three spots for 2 teams in the American League, and you got 2 spots for 4 teams in the National League. So there's a lot on the go for the next 10 days, 10, 12 days. A lot of stuff's going to happen. Makes it a must-see TV for baseball fans, for sports fans, to sit down in front of your TVs. I don't have enough down here for the action that's going to happen in the next 12 days. It's going to be fantastic drama throughout Major League Baseball. There's some matchups that are going to occur. There are some head-to-head games that are going to make games matter even more. A lot of scoreboard watching and the like. The best thing about this is that it keeps fan bases engaged a lot more. I was, you have, like I said, that many teams still in the hunt. They got teams jockeying for position, where they're going to end up, how they're going to finish off the season and the like. So it keeps fan bases engaged right down to the bitter end. It's something that I was against back in 1994 when they first implemented the wild card situation in baseball and division realignment and everything else that went on. I don't know how I had any brains back then about what was going on in the baseball world when I was at the ripe old age of 20, but I guess I was an old man, get off my lawn baseball traditionalist back then in 1994 anyways, or whatever. I think it was 94, 95. It doesn't much matter what year it was, but it was back then. I didn't like it very much, but you know what? The thing is, if we didn't have that, there would be 3 of the division races wrapped up completely already, and then you would have and you'd only have 1 race going right now because you already have the Dodgers have clinched, the Braves have clinched, and so you'd have those 2 teams done. Minnesota is going to clinch in the next day or so. So that's the third one that is done. So the only one that you would have remaining now would be the Baltimore Orioles Tampa Bay Rays for the American League East. Yes, some teams are jockey positioned, what division they were in way back in the day, but it used to be only 4 teams got in. That was it. You had an ALCS, an NLCS, and a World Series, and even before that, there was only a World Series where the American League and then the National League faced off for the World Championships. Maybe that's why the Yankees have all those championships. They didn't have to play many games to get to the World Series. That's a true story, actually. But anyways, it's going to keeps fan bases engaged. It's something that whoever came up with the idea of the wild card and everything else, and then not having the 1-game wild card, but now the expanded playoffs that you have with the best 2 out of 3. Yes, I wish they could find a way to have a 1-1-1 series so you travel a little bit and get that done. But just the time frame isn't possible, because if you think last year when Seattle and Toronto played, there was no way to make that cross country trek 3 times if it would have went 3 games, but it only went to 2. But you get my gist of this. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all how it all plays out. You have a Dodger team that clinched on Saturday night in Seattle. Great series. That Dodger team, man, I got a lot of respect for that team. They got a couple of guys there with the Dodgers. I watched that game quite intently on Saturday night. I was bachelor for night. Deanne went to a gala, so I was home alone watching baseball and everything else. So you watch that Dodger team, guys like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman just smiling away. I guess you got $304 or $450 million in the bank. Nothing to be frowning about when you clinch a division, but there seem to be a good bunch of guys and a good group that tends to get along. I'm really pulling this year for Clayton Kershaw in the National League playoffs to see if he can get a real ring and be a factor in the playoffs. He hasn't had a lot of playoff success over the years. The other day he was saying he doesn't know what his role is going to be. Will he be a starter in the playoffs for the Dodgers and everything else? It's really interesting to see how it's all going to play out. I like that Dodger team. That's fun to watch, and there've been a lot. I'm just going a little bit of a soliloquy here, but about the Dodgers, or an aside, I guess. But I really like that Dodger team. It's tough not to like that team and see where they're going to go. But it's the playoffs got going today. It's probably going to change 12 times. They would win here, lose here. You look at Seattle and Texas are going to play each other 6 times in the final 12 games starting this weekend, I believe, down in Arlington, I think it is. So that should be a fun series to watch and see how that's all going to play out. You have some other series like the Toronto Blue Jays. They get going tonight with my New York Yankees. If they take care of business, I think that they'll be okay. But if the playoffs got going today, you'd have like 4 teams have clinched so far. Like I basically have I said, the Dodgers, the Braves, the Orioles, and the Tampa Bay Rays have all clinched playoff spots. Tampa and Baltimore are going to battle it out a little bit. They're still 2.5 games up. Baltimore's 2.5 games up on Tampa, and they're rolling right now. That Baltimore team is fun to watch. They're a great baseball team. A lot going on for them. They got their 94th win last night in Houston, so that's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But if the playoffs started today, you would have the Texas Rangers playing the Minnesota Twins, the Toronto Blue Jays, Tampa Bay Rays playing, and then the National League, you have the Cubs, the Brewers, and then the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Phillies squaring off is how that all would play out. I think that is going to change quite a bit in the foreseeable future. I really would like to see the Arizona Diamondbacks not get into the playoffs. I'd like to see Joey Votto get into the playoffs and go right off on the sunset, even if it's only just for 2 more games, to see him get into a playoff situation. But long suffering Reds fan base would like to see Joey Votto get at least a couple games in the playoffs and everything else, and then to see Ellie De La Cruz get a chance to be on the national stage and to let the whole world see him, or more baseball fans see him play a couple of playoff games and see where that could go. It'd be a lot of fun to see that guy in the playoffs. I still think that Seattle is going to get in. I think they're going to overtake the Texas Rangers in that 6 games that they have left. I just think that Texas has been dancing around disaster for quite some time. When you dance around disaster, eventually disaster comes up and grabs you and pulls you in. And so the quicksand they've been treading on for a long time, I think is going to grab the Texas Rangers, and Seattle's going to get into that playoff spot and end up facing end up having a playoff run of the second consecutive year. They haven't done that in a long time. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out with the Rangers and Seattle. I really like to see the Baltimore Orioles win that division. That team is something else to watch. They have been on fire. You watch that crowd at Camden Yards last Sunday afternoon when they clinched a playoff spot. They haven't clinched a division yet, but they clinched a playoff spot with 94 wins. Remember, they had 110 losses just 2 years ago, and how that the fan base has got behind them again and jumped on that, because nothing draws a crowd like a crowd. When people start winning and your team starts doing well, you want to be a part of it and go and get in the stands and watch that, because nothing like watching playoff baseball and when your team's winning, it's a great feeling, because when your team's got a chance to win a World Series, there's nothing quite like it. I haven't had that feeling since about 2017 realistically, but it's one of those things. And you look at that Baltimore team, and they got a superstar shortstop in Gunnar Henderson. You got to wonder what old Jackson Holiday, Matt Holiday, ex-Major League Baseball player, ex-New York Yankee, what Jackson Holiday, he went first overall in last year's draft, what he's thinking about. He better learn how to play second base a little bit, because Gunnar Henderson's going to be a superstar in this league, and he's going to be patrolling the shortstop position for a long time at Camden Yards. So Jackson Holiday, who's ripping it up in the major leagues, or in the minor league, sorry, they figure he's going to be a guy to contend for a spot in the major league next year. And then, of course, they don't want to pay anybody, so they can pay him the league minimum. He'll be up there in Baltimore. But he better learn how to play second base and learn how to play second base quickly, because Gunnar Henderson isn't going anywhere around Baltimore anytime soon. It's going to be fantastic to see how it all plays out. I just wonder what kind of legs the Jays got right now. A week and a half ago, just over a week and a half ago, when the Jays got swept against the Texas Rangers at home, everybody was writing the Jays off, but they're right back in it somehow, some way, winning games. Everybody else, like, you play the Boston team, who isn't very good, and you sweep them, and Seattle didn't do themselves any favor by getting swept by the Dodgers. And then Texas, like I said, you never know what you're going to get out of them. But you have a situation now where basically the Toronto Blue Jays can kind of right the ship and right the season a little bit. That hasn't gone as well as the people in Toronto have had hoped. But they have a situation right now where they can actually go out and take some games in the Bronx, go out and beat a Yankee team that's not very good, and they're just basically playing out the string. Yeah, they're not technically out of it, but like I said the other day, the fat lady, she ain't singing, but she sure is humming up a tune right now, warming up the vocal cords. And so you wonder if the Jays can go out and get some pitching and get some timely hitting in the Bronx, which they probably will. I think Clark Schmidt goes tonight for the Yankees. You just think that the Jays have controlled their own destiny. I think they're one game up right now on the other two. I think that Houston, they got Baltimore right now, and Baltimore's going to, I think, win a couple of games in that series. But I think Houston's going to find a way to get themselves to win that American League West, and it's going to be a two-horse race, basically, with Seattle and Texas for that last wild card spot. And I think the Jays have kind of set themselves up. You think that we talk about Alek Manoah all the time. If they would have had Manoah for at least 10 to 15 quality starts this year, they wouldn't be playing for their playoff lives right now. They'd be going for a division title and battling because you think how bad they've been in the American League East. They have a chance to do something, like I said, against the Yankees this week, and then next week back at home at the old Rogers Center or Sky Dome. I still call it the Sky Dome, but it's going to be a great week and a half of baseball, 12 days. It's going to be a great must-see TV for baseball fans everywhere. It's going to be must-see TV for just sports fans, and how it all plays out. I remember a couple years ago there was 5 playoff spots open on the last day of the season, and legends were made and everything else. And it's fun to watch. And I had 4 or 5 TVs going when I lived back in Medicine Hat, and there was drama. And the way baseball sets it up on that last Sunday of the season, where all the games started at the same time, I think like 1 o'clock, so they all finish around the same time. And it all works out, and how it all there's that 15 minutes in there when games are still close. What year was that? In 2012, I think it was, when there was that Monday night when a bunch of crap was happening, balls going here and balls going there, when the Yankees ended up losing to Tampa, and Tampa got in, and the way it all worked out. Should be fun to watch. The next 12 days is going to be great to watch. There's a lot of fan base involved in it. The Cubs better get their shit together. That was my first swear word. We are now 12 minutes into this. I finally had a cuss word come out of my yap on a Tuesday morning, but the Cubs better straighten things out. They're only, I think they're a game up right now in that wild card spot, or tied, but they've only won 2 out of their last 10 games. And you got to think, geez, they had kind of I thought they had the inside track for that wild card spot, but it's just not really happening. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. It's going to be a lot of heartache, and a lot of people cheering, a lot of people up and down and all around. Speaking of cheering, I wasn't going to get into this, but I thought I would get into it, because there was a lot of there was something that Jim, the fan of the van, posted on his Twitter account today, that a person passed away at a Patriot fan was beaten to death Sunday night by a Miami Dolphins fans. And it seems to be happening a lot throughout football, mainly because football, the testosterone's high and everything else. I'm not saying that there aren't fights that happen at baseball games and hockey games, because there is, but there just seems to get a lot more attention this time of year. Around the football season, people get a little bit rambunctious, or a lot of bit rambunctious, and the way lives are ruined over a football game or a hockey game or a baseball game. And you notice every one of those words I ended with was game. Sports is a game. It's supposed to be entertainment. It's supposed to be fun. It's not life or death. It really isn't. And now it's became life or death, not just for the person who lost their life, but for the people who are involved in that on all sides, not just the victim and the perpetrator, but the families in general. Because now you got one family who's got to figure out life insurance and getting on without dad, and you have the other family, the guy might be in jail for the rest of his life, or a girl, whoever it might be, and then there were fights. And then another thing is you see a lot of these fights happening, and you see a lot of this trouble happening, and it's probably booze fueled. There's no getting around that, but it's for people to get that ramped up over a football game or a baseball game, I don't understand it. To see people not try to help anybody, and the first thing they want to do is take their phone out and video it, and it's completely ridiculous that happens on a daily basis in the National Football League, which it seems like every stadium it's been happening at all football, the 2 weeks of football season. I'm not saying everyone, but it happens a lot. There was another incident with the Patriots. There was an incident last night in the Saints game with Carolina, and I don't understand it. It's a game. It's supposed to be fun. You go, you pay your $100, $200, $300, drink some beers, watch the game, cheer loud, go home, and it should be in that order, right? And when people's lives get destroyed because of a game, you got to take a long, hard look in the mirror and take a long, hard look at what's going on. You see people smashing their TVs and everything else. Yeah, I get upset when the Yankees lose, or if the Leafs go, they're going to lose again. I'm not going to go and punch somebody because they said something derogatory to me, because it's just words, and it's just stupid to me to get that ramped up over sports. You're supposed to go to a game, have some fun, have a few laughs at the other team's expense, and joke about things and have a laugh. And if somebody pokes fun at you a little bit, it's probably in fun. Sometimes it's better to say nothing at all, but sometimes it's just a lot of fun. It's all delivery, intent, and how you say things to people. And sometimes you got to keep your mouth shut, because it's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to go out and have a good time, and sports is supposed to be just entertainment. And that's all it is. Like, you don't see people going to an opera or to a movie getting in a scrap in the third row or out on the balcony while they're watching Pavarotti or whatever the fuck, right? So it's sad to see that the sports has got that way. And from now on, if you go to a sporting event and you see some people getting a little rambunctious, do yourself a favor and don't get involved too much, but try to interject so these tragedies don't happen as regularly as they do, because you see people getting hurt. And like I said, you have a lot of people's lives who are ruined now, that not just the person who passed away, but all their exterior families and everything else that happens throughout sport. And it's sad to see that people just don't want to video it and make fun of it, and they don't want to do anything about it. And it's sad to see that people get that ramped up over a sporting event. Go have fun. Use SeatGeek.com. Use promo code 1420 at SeatGeek, but make sure you're having fun and go out, have a good time. But as in anything in life, moderation is the key. And if you find yourself getting angry, just go for a walk away. If you find yourself getting too ramped up over a sport, maybe quit watching. Fan, the derivative of fan is fanatic, right? So sometimes fanatics can be a little bit rambunctious. So just make sure if you're going to a game, make sure you enjoy it for all the right reasons. And anyways, there's my little rant for the day from 1420 World Headquarters. Enjoy the games, guys. That's the biggest thing. Enjoy sports for what it's supposed to be worth.
The foul baller. If there's a ball that's gone foul, he's gone to get it. Under his watchful gaze, all bevs, binoculars, and ballpark brats are safe. He's the only thing that stands between his section and certain destruction. That's why he only trusts SeatGeek with his tickets. The ticketing app trusted by fans. SeatGeek, so fans can fan.
All right, there it is, our friends at SeatGeek. As always, thank you very much for supporting the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. We appreciate all the support you guys have given us throughout the year and a half that you've been with us. We appreciate it. Like I said, we appreciate all the support, and keeps us going on this thing. Hey, let's to Brent's Best Bet, where the game begins. Brent's Best Bet brought to you by BetUS. Use promo code 1420 BetUS at BetUS.com today. America's favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com. Anyways, if you would have made some wagers yesterday, you would have won $134. We went 3 for 3 last night. First time we went 3 for 3 since we started doing this. Anyways, tonight across the major leagues of baseball, look for Yusei Kikuchi and the Toronto Blue Jays to take care of my New York Yankees tonight in the Bronx to hold on to at least their one-game lead in the wild card spot. Then take the Cincinnati Reds. They'll win their second straight at home versus the really hot and cold Minnesota Twins. I don't like that Twins team at all to do any damage in the playoffs. The Reds will keep pace for the second and third wild card spot. And to finish things off, the Baltimore Orioles continue to stay hot, and they will increase their lead in the American League East with a win tonight in Houston. That's Toronto, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. Put down $20, win yourself $170.39 today at BetUS, where the game begins. Sign up today and get yourself a 125% bonus by using promo code 1420 BetUS today at BetUS.com, where the game begins. And as always, if you're going to play, make sure you play responsibly. America's favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, where the game begins. There it is, BetUS.com. They can contact me last week, get back on board. So it was nice of them to say hi and get us going there with BetUS.com, so people can pad their pockets a little bit, but play responsibly. That's the biggest thing. 3 for 3 last night. Doesn't happen very often. Anyways, here's a word from our friends at BetUS.com.
I've been to 56 straight home games.
I've tailgated 61 times.
I've been to 31 practices. I've collected 17 autographs.
I've had 27 beers spilled on me. Make that 28.
I've got one sports book.
I've got one sports book. I've got one sports book.
BetUS.com.
There it is, betus.com. They're back on board, and use that promo code, like I said, 1420BetUS, and get that 125% sign-up bonus today. Let's do birthdays and on this day and get everybody the heck out of here for the day. Thank you very much for listening and watching today on YouTube. We appreciate everything. On this day in 1993, Atlanta Braves pitcher Tom Glavine won his 20th game for the third straight season. The Braves' 11-2 victory over the New York Mets. Glavine went 6 innings in the game, giving up 9 hits, striking out 4, and walking 1 in front of 49,064 people at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. Glavine finished the season with 22-6 record in 36 starts for the Braves, who finished the season with 104 wins to win the National League West. Yet the Braves were in the National League West, if you can believe it. They lost the Phillies in the NLCS in 6 games. Glavine would have 2 more 20-win seasons in his career, both with the Braves, and finish his career with a record of 305 wins, 203 losses in his 22 years in the big leagues. Tom Glavine, obviously one of the all-time greats, part of those great pitching staffs with the Atlanta Braves back in the day. Glavine is one of the best to go on. Anyways, he's that team should have won a lot more World Series. They just didn't get around to doing it. They ran into the Yankees and the Jays and the Phillies and everything else. But it's just one of those things. You got to be the man. You got to beat the man. They never ended up beating the man. So, anyways, and happy birthday to retired NHL goaltender and current host of DiPietro and Rosenberg show on 98.7 ESPN Radio in New York. DiPietro was born in Winthrop, Massachusetts, and was drafted in the first round of the 2000 NHL entry draft, first overall by the New York Islanders, where he played parts of 11 season in an injury-plagued career, probably better known for his 15-year, $67,500,000 contract that he signed prior to the start of the 2006-2007 season, that he's still getting paid for a cool $1.5 million every year until 2029. Not bad for a guy with 318 career games under his belt and 130 wins in those 318 games. Good money if you can get it. Good go if you can get it. Like I said, happy birthday anyways to ESPN Radio New York's Rick DiPietro. There you go. So there it is. There's the show for today, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening on podcast form later on. We appreciate everything that you guys do for us. And yeah, that's all I got. Make sure you check out Dave and I's show that we did last night. A lot of laughs. We talked about the Mike Babcock situation, and we did our usual Monday night football overreaction with a couple of fun segments that we have there. F this team and give your paycheck back or game check back, however we named it. But yeah, a lot of fun last night with Dave as always. And that's our show. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning. And remember, it doesn't matter where you are; it's who you're with. Have a good day, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow. You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. 4 beer with the sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network.